It seems like Drew Barrymore just can't keep her hands to herself, and fans are becoming outraged at her behavior. The actress was blasted as cringy after uncomfortably caressing Oprah Winfrey on an episode of The Drew Barrymore Show. In the clip, the two of them were seen cozied up on the couch while talking about the importance of interacting with the studio audience. Drew tightly held onto Oprah's hand while she was running her other hand up and down her arm. She said, "Something that I learned about you because I didn't know about this detail was that you would spend time with the audience outside of the show you were filming." Oprah then seemed to be trying to get out of her grasp because she adjusted her seating position while answering the question. She said, "It is necessary. My crew used to be like, oh my gosh, how much time you should go spend talking to that audience." Drew then let go of her guest while she was preparing to ask her something else. For her part, Oprah then started talking with her hands while applauding Drew for running the daytime talk show without an audience during the pandemic. She said, "That's why this is so hard to do without an audience, and I was complimenting you on the fact that you go through it without an audience because it's almost like you're not getting their energy." The thing is, Oprah didn't appear to be too bothered with this hands-on approach, but a lot of people watching this interview seemed to be. They were completely turned off by Drew's behavior. Online, people started flooding her comment section, saying things like, "She's really creeping me out now, it's just too weird," and "Drew is too overbearing and cringy, and it doesn't seem genuine the way she fawns over her guests." Another person wrote, "The handhold and the arm being caressed is past my boundary. Oprah's body language was so clear that she wanted her hand back. Why is Drew always trying to force the moment?" Although the backlash is a little over the top, this is hardly the first time something like this has happened. As a host, Drew is often known for getting close and personal with her guests, and she was also pretty touchy with Brooke Shields back in April, when the two of them had an emotional discussion about their needy moms, so it's not a total one-off for her. Fortunately, it seems like Oprah was totally down for the whole caressing thing, even if some fans were cringing. As she was headed into the Empire State Building, she claimed that she enjoyed the personal touch she got on the Drew Barrymore Show, and spoke to a reporter saying that it actually provided her some solace. She said she thought it was endearing and loved Drew for always being herself. So there you go, as long as she was fine with it, it's totally okay. Though to be fair, this is not the first time Drew's own audience seemed to turn on her. Several weeks ago, she came under fire for announcing the return of her talk show despite there being an ongoing writer's strike in Hollywood at the time. The backlash started when she claimed that the show would be returning during the strike because it was in line with the rules. But the show's writers were amongst those who picketed the studio in New York after it resumed filming, and after that all hell broke loose. The National Book Foundation said it had rescinded Drew's invitation to host the National Book Awards. The foundation released a statement saying the event is dedicated to celebrating the power of literature and the incomparable contributions of writers in our culture. They went on to say, in light of the announcement that the Drew Barrymore Show will resume production, the National Book Foundation has rescinded her invitation to host the awards ceremony. The move came completely out of left field, as before the controversy, the foundation had praised her work because Drew is the author of several books, including a biographical piece called Wildflower, which recounts her childhood, and that book received massive praise and made the New York Times bestseller list. The Writers Guild of America had been on strike since the beginning of May over concerns about pay, proper working conditions, and the use of artificial intelligence, with actors joining the strike in July in solidarity. At the start of the strike, Drew stepped down as the host of her show, as well as the host for the MTV Film and TV Awards, in solidarity with the striking WGA members. But she then seemed to go back on her promise when she made the choice to return for the first time during the strike, all for the sake of the show. She said the show may have her name on it, but that situation was much larger than that. She owned the choice and confirmed that the show had no intentions of operating against the guidelines that were set in place by the strike, namely the rule of promoting affected TV shows or films. She went on to say that the return to the show was her way of trying to provide what writers do so well, which is a way of bringing us together or helping us make a sense of the human experience. The head of CBS said that her show would not be performing any written work that was covered by the WGA strike. Drew essentially signed herself up to write and star in the talk show, but of course so many people hated this decision. Speaking on the picket line, one former writer said, "First and foremost, this is obviously bigger than the Drew Barrymore Show and its writers." She said that they were on the lines to stand there with the union and were feeling great and excited to be surrounded by so many creative minds. A union representative told the press that the guild has and will continue to picket struck shows that are in production during the writers' strike. They also said that any writing on the Drew Barrymore Show is in violation of the WGA strike rules, something her team literally said would not happen. What's odd is that Drew's position as a performer on the show was not in violation of any strike rules. According to CBS, the show is covered by a different actor's contract than the one that is currently in dispute. The contract contract, which covers talk, game, and variety shows and soap operas, was renewed by the union last year. So technically speaking, she wasn't breaking a guideline, but at the same time she kind of was. While she was protected on the hosting side of things, writing her own material would in fact be against the rules. Amidst the growing controversy, Drew released a 4-minute long apology video taking full responsibility for her actions and giving her side as to the decision on restarting the show. She claimed that she never meant to hurt anyone, as she herself had been through some truly rough situations. She of course acknowledged the pain that she had caused the people on the line and knew there was nothing she could say to make it better. She reminded the audience that the show was literally created and premiered in 2020, when we were all supposed to stay away from each other, and it was literally built on sensitivity. Unfortunately, she said there is not much that could be said or done to make things right, or even really try to solve the problem. Then about a week later, under immense pressure, Drew took to Instagram to tell the world that she had changed her mind, and she would allow her talk show to remain cancelled. All of the public backlash and surely the negative comments from her fellow performers were not helping. She made a big post on Instagram saying that she heard everyone's concerns and would be postponing the premiere till the strike is over. The PR team at CBS praised this decision, and it seemingly got her out of hot water with a lot of her audience, all of whom had decided to boycott the show. On March 7th of this year, 99% of members from the Writers Guild of America voted in favor of demands that included calls for increased compensation, better residuals, staffing requirements, and protection from artificial intelligence that was interfering with their jobs. Negotiations between the union and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, aka AMPTP, took place but quickly stalled out. The strike shut down literally everything in Hollywood. But the reason Drew received so much hate is because the strike also put live shows on ice. Saturday Night Live, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, all of these shows were on the picket lines waiting to recommence. And around the middle of July, the Screen Actors Guild and American Federation of Television and Radio Artists joined the picket lines. All of this came about because writers said that they have suffered financially during the streaming TV boom, partly because the shows were having shorter seasons and they were also receiving smaller residual payments. The transition to streaming services has also cut the writers' pay and forced them to work more for less money. According to the WGA, half of TV writers now work at minimum salary levels, compared with only 1/3 back in 2013. The union released a statement saying, "This is not an ordinary negotiating cycle. We are fighting for writers' economic survival and stability of our profession." While the budget for TV series has soared over the past decade, the pay for writers and producers has actually fallen. At the same time, the entertainment industry has paid exorbitant salaries to executives and reporting billions of dollars in profits. The WGA calculates that industry profits have risen from $5 billion in 2000 to annual profits ranging from $28 billion to $30 billion from 2017 to 2021. In fact, in 2021, 12 of the top media and entertainment executives received about $1 billion in total compensation. So it's really only the writers who were suffering. They just could not support themselves with writing alone and were suffering from reduced job opportunities from the shift in the industry. The WGA also wanted safeguards to prevent studios from using AI to generate new scripts, and they planned to ensure that writers were not going to be asked to rewrite draft scripts that were originally created by AI, because this would undermine screenwriters and their work by impacting their compensation. The union was open to the use of technology as long as the writers maintained sole credit of the work. They were also contending with declining television ad revenue as traditional TV audiences shrink and advertisers go elsewhere. For their part, the Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers released a statement saying, "Our goal continues to be to reach a fair and reasonable agreement." The AMPTP companies have approached these negotiations with the long-term health and stability of the industry as their priority. At least that's what they said. Quote, "We are all partners in charting the future of our business together, and we are fully committed to reaching a mutually beneficial deal." Well, it seems like that might have happened in the end. The long-running contentious writers' strike finally ended late in the day on Sunday, September 24th, after 146 days of labor stoppage, making it the second longest strike in Hollywood history. The union's leadership announced that they had voted to end the strike and recommended the membership vote in favor of ratifying the contract. For many, this moment was one of celebration. President Joe Biden even issued a statement applauding the writers' tentative deal. He said, "There is simply no substitute for employers and employees coming together to negotiate in good faith towards an agreement that makes a business stronger and secures the pay, benefits, and dignity that workers deserve." From the WGA summary, it seems as though the union was successful in its efforts. The MOA includes increases to minimum wage and compensation, increased pension and health fund rates, improvements to terms for length of employment and size of writing teams, and of course, better residuals. So what do you think has come out of the this writer's strike? Do you think it's a positive thing? Please let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you all in the next video.